Hi everybody. Well, I've never actually made any type of instructional video, but I'm about to embark on a brand new journey of making my own homemade breads. So now I want to tell you that I've eaten at the most amazing places in various states throughout the country, and I have several talented culinary and pastry chefs in my family. But the best pizza and bread comes from my cousin Giacomo Calabrese, who lives in Las Vegas, and he has no culinary degree. What he does have is a lot of practice, and he's done a lot of research, and he's made a ton of the most creative breads and pizzas that I have ever seen and tasted. In fact, he's better than most of any professional chef, pizza or bread that I've tasted. And I know I'm biased, but sometimes the truth hurts. Anyway, so today I'm making part one of a video, and it's going to be a two-part video on my first bread making experience. And I hope that it'll take some of the fear and perhaps confusion out of it for those of you who have been procrastinating on doing the same thing. I'm filming this using my new iPad 3, which I absolutely love, and then I'll edit it in iMovie. So please pay no attention to any mess that you see around my house, like the boxes of Rice Krispies on the table and stuff like that. But we're going to go over all the materials that you need, everything that I purchased to get started, how much I paid for it, and where I got it. So we're going to cover the materials, and I wanted to use the best flour, and I've heard from many, including professional chefs, that King Arthur flour was the best. So I went to the King Arthur flour website, and I purchased both bread flour, and this is high gluten flour, which is what I'm going to use for the pizza dough. And in the back here, you'll see that I have a pizza peel and a pizza stone, which I'll get to at a later date because I'm not making pizza right now. I'm going to make bread. So for that one, I'm going to use the one in the blue bag. And at Bed Bath & Beyond, I also purchased these nice little plastic airtight containers. And in this airtight container is the Sir Lancelot high gluten flour. And in this smaller container here is live culture. Now my cousin Jack sent me a small piece of live culture, which I have been feeding for days. And the way you do that is he does 100% hydration, and it's 50-50 equal parts of water and flour. And he recommends that you feed it with the flour that you're going to use most. So if you only plan on making bread, you should use the bread flour. And if you plan on making more pizza, then you'd use the pizza flour. I have been feeding it with pizza flour because I thought that once I just got used to using the machine and making the dough, I'd probably making a lot more pizza than bread. So basically it's 4 ounces of water and 4 ounces of flour to start once you get your piece of live culture, and you just mix that in and feed it 2 times a day, perhaps more if you want to see it grow faster. This live culture will go all the way to the top, and once it's really ready. And if you're not using it, just dump some of it out and start again. It's okay to throw it away. It'll just keep growing once you keep feeding it. The next thing I have here, I don't remember exactly how much these canisters were, but like I said, I got them at Bed Bath & Beyond. The King Arthur flour, this blue one here is $4.95 for a 5-pound bag, and the Sir Lancelot is $6.95 for a 5-pound bag. One thing I want to cover real quick is allergies. My son has tons of really bad allergies. He's allergic to peanuts and eggs, and recently found out that he's also allergic to fish and almonds, which falls in the tree nut category. So on the bread flour, it does not say this on the package. It doesn't say that it's processed in a facility that contains all that. But on the Sir Lancelot flour, it does contain, or is it processed in a facility that also processes wheat, eggs, milk, soy, and tree nuts. So if you have someone that is allergic to any of those things, you do not want to expose them to this. And since I have been feeding my culture with that, my son will not be able to eat this. Sir Lancelot does also have live culture if you don't have somebody to give it to you like I did. And you can purchase it right on their website. They will send it to you, and you'll just feed it the same way that I explained. The next thing you'll need is a mixer that looks something like this. I have a KitchenAid Artisan mixer, which I also bought at Bed Bath & Beyond. And I have seen this mixer listed for like $349. I think I got mine for $299, plus I used a nice little 20% Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. And what that comes with is these 3 attachments here. You have your whisk, your paddle, and your hook. Whisk is pretty self-explanatory. The paddle is something that you would use for, I guess, cake and cookie doughs. And my cousin suggests this hook here for bread and pizza dough. So that's what I'm using. And then the next thing that we have here is a stock pot. Now this is a Nordic ware stock pot. It's 6 quarts. And that I got at Amazon.com along with the lid, but I bought the lid separately. So the lid is a 10-inch stock pot cover, and this is a 6 quart stock pot, and it should be non-stick surface inside. Anyway, that's what it looks like inside. And like I said, I bought those items separately on Amazon.com, and what I paid for those, for the 2 stock pots, it was $42 plus $603 shipping and handling, but they gave me a promotion, some sort of 4 for 3 promotion they were having, and I got a $7.50 discount for a total of $40.46. And for the lids, I paid $23.72 plus $3.68 minus $4.29 for the same discount for a total of $23.11. The nice thing about that is that because it was Amazon.com, I used my American Express points to pay for all that, and I got it virtually for free. So those points were sitting there doing nothing, and I used them to pay for this, so I didn't put out $1 to get these items. The next thing you'll need is some sort of scraper. My cousin Jack has a nice big metal one. I have this plastic one that I got from King Arthur for $1.95. I also bought this baton bowl or a proofing bowl, and it comes with a liner. And basically, you'll put your bread dough right in there, and then you'll put your towel or plastic wrap on top when you're ready to proof the bread in the bowl. They do have extra liners for sale, which I bought. One is like $5.95 for a liner. You'll also need a scale, like an electric scale. My cousin recommends that you measure everything by weight, even when you're doing 4 ounces of flour and the 4 ounces of water to feed your culture. You want to just put it on the scale and measure everything by weight, and you can never go wrong. And in the back here, you'll just see some random ingredients. I have the pepperoncini and Sicilian style olives, which I'll be using to make my first bread. So that's about it. We'll talk about the pizza peel and the pizza stone when I'm ready to make pizza, but we'll be moving on, and we're going to get ready to get started to make the bread. So let's go. So while the kids are watching Star Wars, I'm about to embark on my first bread making mission. I've got King Arthur bread flour. It's high gluten bread flour. I got my KitchenAid mixer. You need an electric scale. This is a fresh sourdough yeast culture that my cousin sent me, and I've been feeding it for a few days. I have my nice cast iron pot or non-stick pot back here. This one has a proofing bowl in it. I'll get it out of there, but that's what we're going to put the bread in when we're ready to cook it, which won't be for another day or two. I have this recipe here, and I'm multiplying it. It's 1.5 times we're going to do, so that we can make 2 nice loaves of bread. And so instead of 750 grams of filtered water, I have 1125, and I have 1,500 grams of flour. I have 19.5 grams of sugar and 15 grams of kosher salt, and some other random things here. Okay, so as you can see, I've got 150 grams of sourdough yeast, and I'm going to incorporate everything into this mixing bowl kind of slowly. I'll put some flour in and then add some water and add the yeast, and I'll start mixing and then gradually incorporate the rest of the flour, and I'll show a video as that's mixing. Okay, so with Star Wars blaring in the background, we are now mixing in our dough, and we're mixing the last little bit of flour. I try to do this without spilling it and holding the camera at the same time. Not too bad. My hands are clean. And so that's just going to continue to mix until it gets nice and elastic. And when that's finished, I'll show you what that looks like, and we'll move on to the next step. At this point, I have not yet added the salt and sugar because my cousin says that will make the dough really elastic, and if you add it at this time, you will you'll put more pressure on your machine. So I'm just going to let this go until it's done, and then I'll take some more video. The dough has been mixed and also has been sitting for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, so for a total of 30 minutes mixing and resting, and that's called autolyzing. And I've gone ahead and added 15 grams of coarse kosher salt, and then I've gone ahead and added 19.5 grams of sugar. You can see still see a little bit sitting in there. And I'm going to go and turn on my mixer, and I'm going to let this mix for 3 to 5 minutes. Now you can do this by hand or you can do this with the mixer, but just 3 to 5 minutes. And then after that's finished, I'm going to put that into this container here, and this is a 6-quart container. I've turned the mixer off for just a second because I think it's important for you to see this. Once you add the salt and sugar, this is what my cousin was talking about with the elasticity of the dough. These ingredients help to make the dough very rubbery so that it bounces back. And what that is going to do is it's going to put stress on your motor. And I want to show you exactly the consistency. Mixing it just the flour and water the first time didn't have any problem with that. But this is, I want you to see this. I'm just going to turn this on. And you can see this head is starting to jump around a little bit. And as that happens, this lever is going to keep sliding back. And this will actually pop up if I let it, which I'm not going to. This has already been mixing for, a minute and a half, so it only has another 90 seconds to go or so. But just so you know, it might even be better to mix this by hand. And you can see the dough pulling away from the sides of the bowl, which it wasn't doing during the original mixing process. And so that's because it's getting that rubbery, elastic texture that he was talking about. So just be careful when you're adding the sugar and the salt in, because that will happen to your mixer too. You can use a 4-quart container, and this is lightly greased with olive oil. And this is the olive oil that I use. I use Furtado Cultivita, just so you know. You can use any kind, but for people who actually really like olive oil and love to cook with it, this is probably the best olive oil I have tasted in a really long time that you can buy in a regular store. I got this at BJ's Wholesale Club. Maybe Sam's has it, maybe Costco has it, I don't know, but I always look for good brands of olive oil, and this is it. Then after I put this dough ball, this big ball of dough, into this container, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it sit in there overnight, and you can even let it sit in there for a day or two. And the more you let it sit, the more flavor it will have when you're ready to use it. So when I use it tomorrow or the following day, I'm going to start shooting video of what we're going to do with it next, which is divide it into 2 equal parts, and we're going to make 2 loaves of bread. One of those loaves of bread is going to be an olive and pepperoncini bread, and I just happen to have a few little jars here. I'm going to cut some of this up and add that in as we fold the dough before our final proof. So that video will come tomorrow. And just remember that this is my very first time making bread, so this is much of an adventure for me as it is for you. And I'll see you tomorrow.